definitely a lot of snakes.
Oh, yeah.
Who's from the farthest away place, you think? Anybody from the East Coast? Anybody from Europe? No, you're all locals? Where? Speak up now.
I'm from San Jose.
Do you know the way? I've never been to San Jose. I'm going to the airport later on. Yeah.
Burritos are excellent.
In San Jose?
Yes, sir.
If you know the way. But I don't know the way.
It's that way.
As the crow flies, right? Yeah.
Just going on in there. Yeah, head on up. Okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah, come back in about 50 minutes. Yeah, so it's going to go 45. Did we not record this?
I don't know. I can't remember. I only was in 3 episodes.
Oh, only 3?
Only
I feel
3.
like you were in at the same time as us, but
I don't know.
welcome to Stockton.
And I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had you ever been to Stockton before?
Never been to Stockton.
You're busting our Stockton cherries.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, so Susan is on her way. She should be here in a second, but we can start the chat, or or unofficially start, I think, if we want. What do you think of Stockton so far?
It's beautiful. Kind of. I've seen the AstroTurf and the wharf at the hotel. So is it a river? Is it a river that's here?
Next to the San Francisco.
The San Joaquin River, is that right? It sort of backs into here, but then you could get to the ocean from here, right? If you hopped in a boat, you could make it to the ocean.
We're at Port City.
Okay.
Port City. That's our communication. Port
That's
City.
cool. That's cool.
So how many miles inland are you?
Literally, right?
What
now.
a stump.
Yeah, it's just a
I
wow.
always
You're
ask
dropping
the
it right
question
there.
Yeah, yeah.
You are now the representative of Stockton right now. Go ahead.
Stockton is a beautiful city. We love having here. I grew up here. Yeah, we have to all, but I love the city. It's a very beautiful city, and it could be a lot of improvements to be done, but we love it.
Yeah, that's great.
I like that.
Thank you.
Nice,
Good to
well
be here.
done. The city.
Ladies and gentlemen, Susan Eisenberg.
All right, so we'll do our official announcement, or our official introduction, and then we'll go in. And again, real quick, if everybody can make sure your cell phones ringers are turned off. You can take pictures, you can do all that stuff, but we just don't want, your great ringtone in the middle of the meeting or in the middle of the panel. All right, StocktonCon, good morning or good afternoon now. We would like to welcome the DC Universe panel. Mr. George Newbern, the voice of Superman across DC Comics and Media, including Justice League Unlimited, and the Injustice video game series.
Yes.
And best known perhaps most recently for Superman in the Justice League versus the Fatal Five, which is back in March. And when he's not doing that, he had. What's that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. This thing fell down. I'm like a
You can let it go.
like a squirrel. I'm like, oh, look at this thing. I gotta fix this thing.
Sorry, like he's Superman, he's trying to fix everything. Right? He also, when he's not doing DC Universe, we'll throw this out, he also has a recurring role on Law & Order SVU.
Yes.
And 66 episodes of Scandal.
Yeah, 60. Yeah.
So, the guy's busy, he's a little bit. Next to George, we have Susan Eisenberg. The voice of Wonder Woman in Justice League Unlimited, Superman, Batman Apocalypse, Justice League Doom, and Justice League versus the Fatal Five, as well as Injustice Gods Among Us. And not last but not least, sitting at the end, and it's that laugh that does it. If you look on IMDb or Wikipedia, the description of John Glover is known for a range of villainous roles. Many villains.
Go figure.
We need a guy who can be really scary and intimidating, and he has a good laugh. Can we find? Oh yeah, John Glover. So he was, of course, Lionel Luthor, Lex's father on Smallville. He was the father of Sylar on Heroes. He's in Shazam, right? You all saw Shazam.
I'm a real father from hell, and that's a baby.
And of course, the voice of the Riddler. right? Huge job, brother. And filming right now, The Extraordinary Farewell. Is that correct? Is that what you're working on now? You filming something now?
The Extraordinary.
I don't know, that's what IMDb told me. Is that,
Farewell.
is that the name of your movie?
What is it called?
It's just the end of your career. It's just
Don't
the
worry about
extraordinary
it. Pretend
farewell.
like I didn't say a thing.
It's your last job you'll ever have. It's just it's called the extraordinary farewell.
I'm in a couple of weeks. I start rehearsals on a play in New York.
Okay, good enough.
So it's
What's
called
the
Fern
play?
Hill.
What's the play?
It's called Fern Hill. Remember Michael Tucker, you LA
Sure.
law
Michael
people?
Tucker, yeah.
The Butterfly Kiss? He and Jill Eichenberry is in it
Nice.
with me, and Michael wrote it. And we're doing it in New York.
Fantastic. What theater?
At the 59 East 59th Street.
What?
I know, you know.
Big deal,
We like to
man.
flip-flop back and forth between the live things, you know, where you're dealing with an audience, you know, they can yell boo or hiss or yay, we love you.
When was the last time you were booed?
Oh, I get booed a lot.
Yeah.
I find that hard to imagine, but okay.
Well, here, but go boo, boo me.
Now really sell it, come on.
Now that's the best compliment a villain can get.
That's exactly right.
Well, so we'll start our panel. We're going to start off with a few. We'll get going, and we'll have questions. I'm sure people have questions, right? We have questions? Excellent. Okay, because this is more about you than it is about me. But I want to start off with George and Susan. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the DC universe, how you got into doing the voiceover for these iconic characters. And Susan, if you want to start, or George, either one.
You know what, we auditioned for it. I mean, it was that simple. I auditioned and then I got a call back and I went to Warner Brothers and met Bruce Timm and Andrea Romano, and I saw a picture that I actually have at my booth today that Bruce showed me, and he said, this is the Diana you'll be doing if you get the job. And they had me read a couple of things, and then they gave me some direction, and I was on my way. And then a few weeks later, dun 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 dun, I got the call that I was going to the big leagues, and it's been blissful ever since. That was 2000.
19 years.
Yeah. It was another audition for me, and Tim Daly was busy, so that's and you know
And
that's the
he's
way it
ruined-
happens sometimes.
And he rues the day. He
Yeah,
rues the
yeah,
day.
yeah. No, so
Tim
my job
Daly-
lasted another 17 years.
Yes,
since he
and
was
Tim
busy,
Daly
so-
has been angry ever since.
Yeah, right. No, he's a good guy, so it's all good.
And then John, they were just talking a moment ago about you said about 3 episodes, I think, of the cartoon version, right?
The Batman animated
Right.
series. We don't call it a.
Sorry, the animated series. Yes, my bad.
Yeah, it's classier than that.
And so how did you get involved with that?
Well, I don't really. Because Mark Hamill was playing that, and the guy that was playing the Joker, Tim Curry, had to drop out. So they moved Mark Hamill up to the Joker and needed a Riddler, and I'd done Animaniacs with Andrea, and she just asked me to come and do it. I guess because she.
Right.
Yeah. So I did 3. What was the guy's name? Oh, the Riddler. 3 Riddlers, but it was this Saturday morning cartoon I was doing. I thought I never watched it.
Yeah.
And we filmed. How do you call it? Recorded it.
Yeah.
We recorded it a couple of blocks away from where I live, so I could walk over, and had 3 sessions of 2 hours of bliss with a bunch of great actors,
Yeah.
and then 20-some years later,
Still going.
I start doing these beautiful conventions, and find that this became this thing that changed people's lives and gave them a code of honor, and I mean, it was an amazing thing. So I'm in 7th heaven thinking this thing was just a Saturday morning cartoon turned out to be something really special and meaningful. It's so gratifying.
And if you could just, each of you, we'll start with George and we'll work our way down, talk about how you embody these characters. I mean, because there's been so many variations and different artists have done them in different ways. How do you make them your own and still stay within the role?
Well, there've been many Supermans, from what I understand, and I didn't really sort of have a preconceived notion of what I should do to try to be Superman. I mean, because if you try to wrap your head around trying to be a super fan, you'd never be able to do it. So, and I've said this before to Susan, but I think of my older brother, who's now a surgeon and an Eagle. He was an Eagle Scout. He was sort of he's one of those guys that is just very earnest and does everything right, which I don't. Semi-earnest, but anyway, so I always think of my brother. That was the way I sort of approached the role. And then I scream a lot and get electrocuted. That's always fun.
Susan?
You know what, it really, I think of it, I tried to do what they wanted me to do from the scripts. You know, I mean, they were very specific scripts, and Bruce and Andrea had a very clear idea of what they wanted her to sound like. And so early on in my career, they told me that I should remember she's always a warrior and she's always a princess, and that I had to bring those two things to every performance. And if I didn't, there was Andrea saying, bring up the warrior, you know? And so I always kept that in mind, that there was something regal about her, but she was as tough as anybody.
So what does that entail in terms of when you're doing this, working on the mic,
Yeah.
what does that entail in terms of how you act, Diana?
It's just a place I find in myself, and it's also a vocal quality that I can find. So trying to sound, you know, Diana's so many things, but she's a warrior and she's also beautiful, and
I'll say. Hello? I know, come on. Anyway, I'm sorry, kidding.
so, you know, it's just bringing that quality to your performance. I mean, that's what we're paid for. And Andrea would set the scene, being the voice director, and you would just try to bring that essence to your read. And believe me, if you didn't, she was there to tell you. So you just tried to bring it every single time.
And then John, you know, you said you were called in, you walk over from your house,
Yeah.
and you're the Riddler. Well,
Yeah.
how do you...
Well, I knew Andrea from the other two. I was Shiny Pants and some...
Shiny pants.
Shiny.
Let's talk about that a little more.
Later,
All right,
George.
all right.
You can go to his booth and ask him.
The scripts are a very clever man who thinks he just knows everything. It's very witty and got a crack mind, you know, crackerjack mind, not a cracked mind.
Maybe
a
both,
little
yes.
crack too, yeah. But so I was just being me, trying to be clever. But every day, but each episode, she'd play a little bit of our voices as we were, just to sort of give us a zing into it.
Yeah.
So I guess I might write 3 times. I don't remember her telling me a lot of stuff, but I guess I had it. Some confidence is what he had, which I lack now. Yeah.
All right, so who has some questions? Raise your hand, we'll call on you. Okay, the very first one was the chairman of Stockton right there, so go ahead and stand up and go ahead, and then we'll go right behind you to the gentleman a couple rows behind you, and we'll work our way around. Go ahead.
I'm trying to keep in mind you say that everybody has a full time for questions, but I gotta say, you know, first off, all you guys really are amazing voice actors and really influenced my life for lots of other time. So question for you, Sephiroth. I gotta say, you are one of the best friends I've ever listened to. You know, I grew up listening to all of you guys' voices. You on Smallville, you on plus had live action and had like cartoon voices. So I got both DC in my brain all the time. You know.
Yeah.
So my question is,
I will never be a memory.
oh no! Okay.
Is that the question? Sorry.
So,
You just broke his brain, that's it. He's done.
You broke mine too.
Sorry.
So, okay, so ask anybody, you know, kind of DC's kind of struggling right now in their live action department, you know, it's kind of divided, you know, and some people say even Shazam was like Wonder Woman was like a revival of the universe. So my question is, what kind of things can the DC do to revive and make it better, to make it even more, not be Marvel, but like kind of like in the same level of that? What do you think?
Hire animation writers.
Yeah, I think DC's writing is better, but their live action has not been as
Yeah,
flashily
I think Warner
successful.
Brothers needs to hire some, you know, animation people, because they know that universe better than anyone, and they're brilliant writers.
Bruce Timm should have been the writer of it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know that that will ever happen, but it's happening in some areas.
Yeah, Bruce Timm should have.
But these people know these characters, they know that that's what made our show so brilliant, because these writers were fans of the genre, and they knew the genre so intimately, and they were also really great writers.
Yeah.
So there was always that respect given to the genre. It wasn't just like a movie. Like, let's just make a movie. It
Right,
was like,
right, right.
I mean, we were so lucky.
Super.
You know, we get to be up on this, you know, what is this?
It's a platform.
A dais.
I
Stage.
mean, what is this?
Yeah.
And you know, we get a lot of the acclaim a lot of the time, but the writing was
Yeah.
really the most brilliant and it still is, it still holds up. That's why we're here 19 years later talking
I
about it.
can't believe it's been
Yeah.
All right, so I did see you, but we're gonna go to this young man right here who's got his hand up in the goggles and the cool shark baseball shirt. Go ahead, ask your question.
Could any of you fly?
Yep, hold on. Sorry. I'll have to do it later. I'm tired right now.
So he can fly, she can fly in her jet.
I can fly without my jet.
Can you fly without your
Yes,
jet?
I can
Okay.
fly without
John,
my
can you
jet.
fly?
I can fly in my dreams sometimes.
Yes. We all fly in our dreams. Right.
Well, John, we're not flying in dreams.
That's great. That's a great
First
question.
panel
It's a great
ever,
question.
first question. He stood up and asked a question. Give that young man a round of applause right there. And I was like, why is that guy calling me out and getting everybody to clap for me? Sir, you had in the Guerrero shirt, you had a question? Yeah, you. Yeah, you.
Get
Good.
those.
I wanted to ask a question, a little bit, but I wanted to ask, why is the frustration over Justice League how unfair performance is, because at least on the anniversary of you guys animated version, releasing on a day, a lot of hype, a lot of.
You're talking about the live action?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
they do so well on the thing and the day, and I released Zack Snyder's Cut. We've heard that Warner Bros. Like really increased a lot. What would it, like they were going to do the Injustice storyline as well? They are for Zack Snyder. Was that going to be a smart idea, or do you think they should have just left it alone?
You know, I'm not going to dive into that Zack Snyder debate because I just think that's way above my pay grade. But I would say that you know, with Justice League, and I saw Justice League, the live action movie, and it, you know, I think that they missed an opportunity to do all the things that the animated series got right, you know, with the chemistry of the players. You had, I think, extraordinary actors ready to do the job.
But they tried to write that thing for 15 years.
Right.
Seriously, I have friends who did they got the third rewrite pass of that movie, and then literally 8 years later they finally made it, and they're probably too many cooks in the kitchen. I think is what the problem was.
Yeah. So in the meantime, you just watched the animated series.
Exactly.
Well, that raises a question I just want to ask you. Let's talk a little bit about chemistry, because you two have worked together for a really long time, and you know, the difference between a Hollywood blockbuster where they're going to get a bunch of A-listers who maybe haven't worked together versus, you know, you guys going into the studio, whether you're recording together or recording separately. Talk a little bit about the chemistry you have both as actors and with your characters, and how that goes to making a better product.
John?
I don't do a lot of voice work, so I feel honored to be called a voice actor because I know what these guys do is amazing, and they can change the switch. But I just lucked out on a couple of jobs, so that's why I'm sitting up here.
You're an actor, but you're a great actor.
Oh, thanks, shucks.
I think when you were recording it with a group, at least for Justice League, we were fortunate to get a bunch of people together. It would be 14 or 15 of us, and do it sort of like a staged reading.
Yeah.
In front of microphones. Which
Yeah.
That's what Andrea did.
Right,
Why she
Andrea.
was such a great director, and this, because she'd get everybody there,
Right.
and everybody
sort
would
of play
play
off
with each other.
Yeah.
Kind of look, and when you can see someone and speak, it makes a difference.
And she talked about what it is to do just a single person and a single person and a single person, that like each take has to be done several different ways because the person that they're responding to hasn't done
Right.
his or her thing. So, but when you got everybody there together, you're just part of a,
It's modulated,
Yeah.
but it's much
Oh.
much better.
and it's fun.
Yeah, but you know, I would say that also, you know, with the Justice League live action, I think there was, you know, that's my opinion. I saw the movie, I saw the characters, I thought there was much more chemistry. It was like, wow, what a waste of an opportunity to me. I'm sorry?
Missed the black suit Superman.
Ah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
We felt like we should have kept that along here. That's what DC kind of messed up because
Yeah.
Right.
Give the people what they want, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they do need to give the people what they want, and if that's the case, then where's the JL reunion? Hashtag jail reunion, anybody?
All right. All right, we're going to go to this side. We're going to go to the gentleman in the Pokemon shirt and then the gentleman in the corner. So we'll start right here. And then I see you back there.
Have you guys ever wanted to do the Justice League versus Avengers project?
Justice League versus Avengers project.
Is there one?
Bruce Timm has been pushing to adapt the comic that it's based
Is that
on.
right? I didn't know that.
Well, if Bruce Timm wants to do it,
Oh, that would be amazing.
then we're in.
Kidding?
Because he's our fearless leader.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
That was like, so that would be this like crazy crossover?
Yeah, it's based on a comic series like
Okay.
back in 2009, but I think because rights issues, maybe that's why it can't get
Oh,
made. But
okay.
hopefully
I'm actually
someday.
narrating a book right now, like the Captain America story. I don't know if that's anything, but it's no crossover. No, not what you're talking about. It's something new.
We'll go here in the corner, right there.
First, thank all of you for coming. I've enjoyed your work for years. Specifically to Mr. Glover, again, thank you for being so kind upstairs. But secondly, I'm curious to know if when you played the role of Daniel Clamp, if you had any foreshadowing that your performance would then again turn around 30 years later to be the leader of the free world.
No. Did you all hear what he was asking? If when we made the Gremlins 2 playing Daniel Clown, who was sort of a Ted Turner, Donald Trump kind of guy, did you have any idea that what would be doing now? But I think Joe Dante should do a new film where Daniel Clown is the president. Yeah, be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, right in to Warner Brothers.
All right, so I have the gentleman in the Superman shirt. Yeah.
Again, like you said, thank you guys for coming.
Oh, our pleasure.
Appreciate it. All three of you guys are pretty synonymous with your own respective characters. I want to know if like DC or Marvel is any other characters you would like to actually voice.
What other characters would they like to voice?
DC
Or DC or Marvel?
You know, I was lucky enough to voice Mira for a for like a, you know, it was I think a straight to DVD, but it was a Lego Mira, and Lego is like my favorite. Like I love the Lego characters, so that was really fun because she's like Queen Mira. She was in our Justice League series, so I knew the character, and I had such a good time voicing her and trying on somebody else in the DC universe. I mean, it was just fun. For Marvel, Captain America.
All right. I kind of would love to do Flash or Riddler. That'd be fun. I just.
He likes the baddies too.
I like the bad people. Yeah.
Bad people are much more fun.
Yeah, he loves the baddies. He loves the baddies.
They move the action of the piece.
They,
Yeah.
they do.
They're
He
very
does.
John, are there any characters you'd like to do in voiceover or live for that matter?
I'm going to make a confession that I've done a lot of DC work, but I don't know why I did it. It all got just offered to me, and I don't know who other DC characters are because
It's okay.
yeah. But I
Okay,
feel-
so let's throw it out there. Who should John Glover do?
Yes.
What does the audience think? What's a character John Glover?
Alfred.
Alfred Pennyworth, Lex Luthor, the Trickster, Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
That's a good one.
Oh, King
Yeah.
Shriner's gonna be
Oh,
furious.
Yeah.
Okay, when you all start producing your own shows, that you remember
You
what
call
you just
him.
have promised me.
All right, we're gonna go right here in the second row.
So with the Crisis on Infinite Earths project happening on DCTV, and there being such a huge legacy of voice actors, would you guys like to do a Crisis on Infinite Earths where you mix the current slate of the Justice League voice actors, their character models, with yours, with Super Friends, and the other various.
So what you're asking is, would we like to work in a job? Yes, we'll work in a job. Whatever the job is, we'll be happy to do
Seriously.
the job.
It's the
Seriously.
one common denominator all actors have.
Right.
We want to work.
You want to work? Yes, we will show up. Just give me the
And it's
call.
actually a great, it's such
It is
a
a good
brilliant
idea.
idea.
Yeah.
So
You get
yes,
Tim Daly and George Newbern in the same
No,
room.
we'll have a SmackDown. Tim and I have a SmackDown.
me and Rosario Dawson,
Yeah,
I'm in.
SmackDown.
I'm in.
All right, so we're gonna go the gentleman in the back in the yellow, and then we got the guy in the Robin hat. So you, right in the back.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for bearing with my baby's first convention.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are the leaders of the pack. I'm an aspiring voice actor doing the Rocky Balboa equivalent of punching sides of beef in a little closet in my house.
Cool. Keep it up.
My question to you, I'm able to find a job or two, and I have to grind myself to dust to do so. How much of your, you say that you got a call and you tried out the size of the room, and you got your audition, that's a part of the business, I understand. How much of the roles that you finally get is a result of your own grind and hustle, and how much of it is an agent saying, you know what, this Eisenberg might have something you might be good for? Mr. Newbern.
In the traditional, yeah, but in the traditional animation world, it's still done pretty traditionally. I mean, it is done through your agent, and it's done through working with people that like you and have worked with you before, and they rehire you, like Andrea kept hiring this lovely gentleman because she knew he could do it, and why audition a bunch of people if John's there who can do it? But I've gotten a lot of work just through my own connections and just through social media, believe it or not, and reaching out to people who, artists and creators and things like that. But it's still, even though the industry is changing so dramatically, it still goes by your agent. It still goes by your reel and things like that.
But also, if you were, a lot of people ask us, how do they get into voice acting or any of that stuff? And really, bottom line is, it's acting, and you should be in an acting class. You should learn that first, and then as an offshoot, the narration or animation or any of that stuff is secondary almost. But make sure you really have a good grasp of the craft of that first. You bet, yeah.
All right. We'll go to the gentleman in the Robin hat over here. Jason Lives, go ahead.
I wanted to thank you guys for coming, obviously.
You're welcome.
Huge fans of the Injustice games and the Smallville. My question is for John.
Yes.
I was going to ask, one of my favorite moments of Smallville was when you and Clark switched bodies.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering maybe one of your favorite moments of the series while you were.
Well, that was a fun episode to do.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to be simple, because what Tom just is. I mean, he doesn't feel like and I complex everything. Just make it complicated. So it was hard for me just to stand still, and because Tom's beautiful, but I'm not so secure with that look for myself. So but he did a great job. But I also, one of my favorite scenes was giving Michael Rosenbaum shock treatment.
He deserved that.
Yes, he did, and he still does. Too. And I see him occasionally, and I ask him if I can give him some shock treatment, and he says yes, and then we do something, and it's fine. He's back to a bit of a normality, which is.
All right, so we got a bunch of hands. You guys have had your hands up, so we're going to go you right here, and then the gentleman in the carnivore shirt. So yes, you there first, and then you second, and then we'll go over here. Right here on the aisle. Yes, you. Yep, yes. You.
Mr. Glover, I was just wondering, when you got a role in Batman and Robin, the movie, did you have any idea that the film was probably not going to be, not good to put it mildly, but at the same time you're probably just thinking, whatever, as long as the check clears, I can just do whatever, I don't care. Just did you have any idea it was going to be as bad as it was? I mean, obviously it wasn't bad because of you. You were one of the highlights.
Thank God you added that. I had worked with Joel Schumacher before on an incredible Shrinking Woman with Lily Tomlin, and had a good time. It was fun, and I got offered this job. It just came out of the blue, which was very nice. And actors like to work.
Yes.
And I was going to get kissed to death by Uma Thurman. Now, what kind of a fool would turn that down?
So you accepted no pay for the role, right?
Ask Uma.
All right, so, go ahead, right there. Yep.
My question was Eisenberg. What were your thoughts on the live-action Wonder Woman film? And two, do you think there was going to show a cameo in Wonder Woman 84?
I loved the Wonder Woman movie. I mean, I was lucky enough to be at the screening of it. I'm a huge fan of Gall's and of Patty's, the director. And mostly I was just thrilled for the fans that they finally, after decades of waiting for a Wonder Woman feature film, that they got their wish. And not only did they get a film, but they got a great film. And so, no, I was overjoyed, again, for the fans, because all I've heard from them for so long is, where's our Wonder Woman live action feature? As for the cameos, yes. I think Linda should be in it, because I just think it's such a great wink to the audience, number one, and I think it's just a beautiful homage to Linda, who did that show for 3 years, only 3 years, and is still considered one of the definitive Wonder Women. So I absolutely think she should have a cameo in it, and she probably will.
Can we get a Susan Eisenberg cameo?
That's
right. Start writing emails. Hey, let's get Susan Eisenberg in Wonder Woman 84.
I would love it. I said to my agent, I would happily just be like, a phone voice saying, "Hold, please." And I don't need to do anything on camera. I'm not an on-camera actress. I don't need to be on camera, but it would be a thrill to just have a voiceover in it.
We're gonna go to the gentleman in the Star Wars Elements T-shirt right there. Go ahead.
It's nice to have all these wonderful voice actors here. I want to thank Mr. Newbern and Miss Eisenberg for being very courteous to me earlier this morning.
Of course.
So I know Mr. Glover brought up earlier what the other gentleman asked about fun favorite moments. I was wondering if maybe you two could maybe describe like one of your more fun or favorite moments of working with Justice League or Justice League Unlimited that you had.
One of my favorite moments was during Justice League Unlimited, when we had one day so many great guest actors. Mark Hamill was there. Let's see, John Rhys Davies. Yeah. And then just a cavalcade of monstrous luminaries. And I just remember looking around the room, going, "What the hell happened? This was just just a cartoon I auditioned for a while ago." Right. And it just kept going on and on. And to see, and it's actually really kind of democratic in a weird way. You're all sitting on a chair, you can't get up and do anything. It's just your voice, and it's just eyeball to eyeball. And it was just really lovely to feel like we were sort of all peers. And it was a nice day. Because in Los Angeles, there's such a hierarchy of movie stars, TV stars, you're this, you're that, you're whatever. And then suddenly everybody had done on camera, off camera, voice and narration. And you're just there as actors, and that was a great day.
Yeah, the same. I mean, just like being able to all be in the same room together, which is such a luxury, and play with, off of Kevin's Batman and this guy and Maria Canal. I mean, just feel I have such a soft, spot for all of them, because we went through it all together, and we just had a natural chemistry. I really think that. And when we were in Denver and New York, we did a reunion show, and we read from some of the scripts, Secret Origin. And it was crazy. We were as emotional as the fans were in the room, because we hadn't read those lines since the shows aired. I mean, since we recorded them. So, we're with the fans on it. We're just, we loved the show, we loved the creators, and we always felt lucky that we were in that room. It was a privilege to be in that room.
Okay, more questions?
George R.R. Martin, maybe? George R.R. Martin in the hat? No? Not so much? I'm sorry. Okay, just checking.
All right, so we saw a hand over here, and we're going to go over here. So you're first in the white, and we'll go over there.
I have a question for all three of you, actually. Everyone heard of the movie called Brightburn? Yeah, Brightburn.
The movie Brightburn?
Yeah.
Will Smith?
That had nothing to do with you guys in the DC universe by chance, by Nolan universe by chance? I don't know that.
Right. So Brightburn is the kind of superhero horror movie. It's an evil Superman-esque character, but I don't think that has anything specific to do with the DC universe. And I presume
we have Injustice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
All right. So the gentleman in the striped shirt right here, and then we'll go in the back.
So in the setting, you're most known for your comic book roles. What's a role or character that you were most surprised that a fan started talking to you about?
Role or character that they've been surprised that a fan has talked to them about?
Go ahead. You mean just in animation or on camera? Or?
Any.
I've done so many bad things. I've done a lot of bad movies, but some good ones, some really good ones. But there's some really like
good ones.
random, really bad ones. And when someone comes up to me and goes, "Hey, I saw you in Paramedics," someone's like, "Oh my God!" I thought I had bought every VHS copy of that in every small town in America. But no, yeah. So that's.
There's a non-zero chance it's for sale on the floor here.
Yeah, I guarantee it's out there. Yeah, for someone.
Yeah, no, it's a kick. Like there was a game I did, Jack and Daxter, and I played a character called Ashlyn, and I mean, so many people saw it on IMDb that I got a picture for the con. So because she was so popular and the game was so popular, and I had no idea until I started doing the Comic-Cons, and Viper on Jackie Chan, because people don't know I did her, and that was like one of the best gigs, other than Wonder Woman. That was one of my favorite gigs ever, Jackie Chan Adventures, and being the love interest to Jackie Chan. That was, just...
Was he good?
Well, he's a good kisser, for sure.
Very.
I mean, I've heard, I've noticed.
You just blew a bunch of people's minds. I don't know if you noticed how.
That's a joke.
And John, who's the most biggest surprise you've ever had somebody come up to you going, "I saw you in"?
I can't remember the names of somebody here today told me too that I completely forgotten I'd been in. Who was that? No, I haven't forgotten about it.
that you remember.
Yeah. No, it was Brimstone, but not because people talk about Brimstone because they were so disappointed that they pulled the plug in the middle of a 13th episode.
Was that Peter Horton's show?
Yeah.
He produced and wrote that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Glad you asked.
I don't know. I just thought I remembered.
Oh, memory's funny.
Memory. Yep.
So we're gonna go right here in the white shirt, and then we'll come over here. Let's go ahead.
Yes. For Sephiroth, it's weird. I think I got offered it because I'd done some ADR for somebody else, and it's the American overdub of the Japanese guy, and he's like, and you have to fit in the English words in the exact timing, and it doesn't really sound normal. Like a lot of the anime English stuff doesn't sound normal. I will get you, Cloud. And be careful. So no, it was just literally, I think I got offered it, and then it just kept calling me back to go do another version of it, and then it was like 15 years later. It's like
Right, that's a surprise
so many movies
for
and
you.
games from this.
And that's been a surprise for you.
Yeah, the cons. Pardon? They recast all of the main voices in the remake for 7. So you tell Square Enix, don't do that. But they did. But yeah. No, I know. But we'll probably do more down the road. But, thank you so much. You're sweet. You're so sweet. Oh. Well, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
I love doing Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That was a mind bender, wasn't it? It's like the Disney characters, and they walk into the. What is happening in this thing?
Oh, we're losing control of the
Sorry,
crowd.
ladies and gentlemen. Sorry.
All right, we have in the third row. She's kind of hiding there.
Since we're talking early career, George, can you kind of talk about your experiences with?
I went to Northwestern and studied theater, and then I came out to Los Angeles, and I was extremely lucky to get a couple of jobs really quickly. And Adventures of Babysitting I'd done a TV movie with Elizabeth Shue, and then she got Adventures of Babysitting, and I went and auditioned and kind of got to do that again. And then Father of the Bride was, my career had sort of taken a skid for about 3 years, and I had an audition for that, and then it was a big hit, that movie. So, but then, John and Susan, it's like an EKG. If you look at an EKG, it's like, like that. That's what an actor's career is like. But I was very lucky and very blessed to have great opportunities early on. But then you wake up and you're 32 and you're like, I have to keep doing this? I have to figure out how to make a living with this? So then you have to figure out how to be a man or a grown-up man or woman and continue to pay your bills and still be an actor and not hate it and figure out how to make that work. And there's a whole, I could give a conference on literally on how to try to have a family, make a living, keep your head on straight, and still find ways to enjoy it. That's a whole separate conversation. But I don't know how I don't know what the answer. I did not answer your question, but
Yeah,
it
you
just
did.
started. I started well, started lucky, and then the rest is you got to keep showing up. I think, right, John? Keep showing up.
Yeah, and so much of it has to do with luck. I mean, you don't
It's
know,
a lot
you
of
don't know why
Yeah.
you get chosen, why
Yes.
you don't get chosen. I mean, just
Right, because there are a lot of, there's so many
So
talented
many great
people
actors, so
who
many
could
great
do
actors.
the same, who could do the job. I mean, there's so many talented folks out there, so you just feel so lucky, so lucky.
I mean, I remember as being 23, 4, coming out and going to a meeting. You have an audition and you go to Warner Brothers or MGM, and here's the part. Learn this stuff, and you go in the room, and there are 8 other guys that kind of look like you, with brown hair, and they're wearing the same jeans. Some guys maybe with sport coats, some guys, but you're all looking the same, and you just sort of, you can't let it freak you out. You just have to go, okay, I'm here to do me. I'm just going to do my thing. But not many other jobs are like that, where you go in and they're kind of everyone.
It's like the same
It's
thing.
like doppelgangers of yourself. It's
Yeah.
kind of messes with you.
Right, like I'll go to a voiceover audition and I'll say, see if there are, room full of women, and I'll be like, hello, and I'll hear, hello, and it's like we all have the same voice. It's like it's tough. It's tough. It's winning the lottery ticket.
We'll go to the gentleman here in the second row. We got about 10 minutes left, just let everybody know, but we'll start back here.
So I was wondering, with all of the different stories that have been done on Justice League Unlimited, Superman the Animated Series, is there a storyline that either of you would like to have been adapted that was not adapted?
Storyline they would like to see adapted that has not yet been adapted.
Well, the Wonder Woman Batman Wonder Bat story I love, and I wouldn't want it to go too deep. Like, I don't need it to be, they're married and they're picking out schools for their kids, but I would love that to continue, and hopefully if we do get a reunion movie, it will continue. There'll be more story with that.
Do you have a direct follow-up to that?
Kind of. One thing I say is that yes, you meant voice the cartoons, but it was a dream. Andrea Romano has to as the spin-off movies and stuff like that. And I talked to you earlier about how I love Batman Apocalypse.
Yeah.
The animation is so great. So I just feel it's great how your voice matches the animation style. And how is it when you're like fighting scenes? Like, do you have to like run around and fight like that? Like that one scene where, like I said, where the Furies fight against Sparta.
Right.
How'd you get to get in that mode of like fighting mode? Like, did you run around? Did you like?
You're not running around so much, but you are moving. I mean, you have to stay in front of the mic, and you can't go off mic, so you can't really move. But certainly, you have to expend some energy. And when I'm kicking in a scene, I'm kicking. Like, I kick and throw a punch and get a punch and all of that. So within the confines of that space, yeah, you are moving around, but you're not running around because, like, again, you have to stay in front of your mic.
And that's a learned skill. I mean, it's not easy to emote and exude energy while having to stay in kind of a confined space. How long did it take to develop that skill?
Any day now. No, I used to say that additional dialogue recording was like a class unto itself in voiceover, because there is a skill set, especially if you have to match your voice to the picture, or if they want to change the line. Oftentimes we recorded before the picture, so we were just recording blind. There was nothing that we were looking at, and then we'd get the picture back and we'd add a lot of the sound effects and the punching and the George being electrocuted and all of that. And there's a real skill to it, and some people are quite brilliant at
Sometimes
it.
Andrea would just tell us what to do.
Right.
Like
Andrea
when
would-
you're giving a punch and taking a punch.
Yeah.
It's subtle. It's a huh, or a and sometimes you think you're doing it one way, and she's like, no, let me just do it for you. And I'm happy to hear this.
Oh my
Give me the
gosh.
line reading.
Yes.
Give me the sound reading.
Yes.
I don't want to make
Andrea
it up.
was also an actor, so
Oh, was she really?
yes, and she's in many of the episodes. So is Bruce Timm, actually. Just
One of the episodes is when Wonder Woman goes to Superman's solitude with Batman to like, deliver, and then a Mongol comes.
Yes.
He puts it,
Right.
Superman has a son named Bad Elf, and he has to live life, and that's a very sad story because like Superman was living like in a lie, and it really hurt him, and just like you punching him and you crying, and even when Superman died, when Toy Man killed Superman, you wrote that one scene. I saw this on YouTube where you were just like feeling that because when Superman died, it was a 20.
Well, hello, Superman is like, he's my buddy. I mean, I love him, and he's
I'm
like,
laughing now and you almost punched me
right.
off, you know.
Yeah, no, all those moments are real. I mean, that's what, I mean, that's our job, you know, to try to make that as real in the moment as possible. And if this guy's like in pain or Martian Manhunter, I mean, come on. Who's sweeter and kinder than Martian Manhunter?
Which is important, but then again.
Carl Lundgren. So we're going to go to the gentleman in the cardboard shirt again, and I see you over there.
What was your favorite moments from the movie Scrooge?
Favorite moments from the movie Scrooged?
Anything I did with Bill Murray, those scenes.
So good in that movie.
Yeah, Buddy Hackett, we had a scene together, and he came in that morning and he changed it all.
Oh, that's
He
great.
he'd rewritten the scene.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I had nothing. But Dick Donner stood up for me. He said, no, we have to act it as written.
Oh.
Poor Buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to the Guerrero shirt, and the gentleman in the back, and then you're going to be our last one, most likely. So go right there, Mr. Guerrero. Advice for Henry Cavill as Superman.
What do you mean? As an actor, how to handle the pressure of what?
How would you tell him to handle the pressure?
You get to be Henry Cavill's agent. What would you do?
I would just say, you know, just hang in there, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I mean, they've changed my Superman out like 3 or 4 times.
Right, I mean,
it
that happens with all
It kind of
of them.
pisses you off a little bit, but then
Yeah.
you go, somebody's that made a choice for another voice for a minute.
Superman, you're one of like very different movies, which is, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. and-
It's different, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have your version of them portrayed like that. I wish, I mean,
Oh,
I wish, I mean, but I wish that Henry Cavill would watch like your show and try to like impersonate that kind of thing. 'Cause he's not really like, he's something like, he's like an anti-hero, like just dark and dark.
Different, yeah.
Right, but that's
Right, it's
also,
it's
that's
all-
also
it's
a
different.
script, that's
Yeah,
also
it's
a
a
script.
too.
And, you know, I think that some people see him as simply heroic, like me, and then other people see that, you know, want to write the dark side. And I say, he is a hero, like he doesn't, for me, and I feel very strongly about this, Superman doesn't have a dark side like a Joker or like a Batman
like a Batman
has.
necessarily.
Batman's dark. I mean, he is a dark character. I don't think of Superman that way.
No, he's a little more black and white. So.
You know?
So we're going to go to the gentleman in the green shirt and the A shirt. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For Ms. Eisenberg and Ms. Newbern, talking about Justice League and Justice League Unlimited for 5 seasons. That was great Saturday night television. What made it great was the writing.
Yes.
It was.
100%.
Yep.
Now, in those 5 seasons, is there one episode that sticks out to either one of you as one of the best stories, or one that just, when you look back at it, makes you smile and say, that's the right?
There are so many more than just one, because I had so many favorites. Because the writing was so good. So you had a Dwayne McDuffie who was so brilliant and wrote many of my favorites. You had Paul Dini, you had Stan Berkowitz, you had Rich Vogel, all these writers. So the Once and Future Thing, This Little Piggy,
I like For the Man Who Had Everything.
Oh, The Man Who Had Everything was brilliant. Brilliant. Comfort and Joy, which I'm not even in. The the Christmas episode. Batman and I aren't in it, I don't think. But I mean, so many brilliant scenes, so many brilliant scripts.
Okay, so we're going to go to the gentleman here in the front. I think that'll be it for questions. Go ahead.
For you, George, did you and Kevin Conroy ever like record it together because of Superman and Batman's dynamic?
Mostly, almost always at the same time.
And was he kind of like a mentor to you guys because he
No,
was like
he's
the
more
most
mental.
experienced?
He was more
because he's the most experienced.
I mean, I don't think of him as a mentor. He's just like what do you call it?
Love interest?
No,
Oh no! Oh no! I know.
Where are we going? Why are you causing controversy?
What's happening here? No, he's a peer. He's a peer. He's a peer. He's another
Although
actor.
when
Kevin.
I got the job, he did take me out to dinner and like said, okay, I've been doing this a long time because he had done Batman animated series, and he was like, kind of he was very welcoming to the world, because I was new to it and I'd never done a series regular on an animated series. So he was lovely. Yeah, he really was. But no, he never mentored us.
Yeah, last time I saw Kevin before that was we were both actors testing for a TV pilot at CBS. He was in one group, I was in another. Hey Kevin, did you get it? No, I didn't get it either. That was pretty much it. And I saw him and it worked.
So with that, we're going to wrap up on the questions, but before we let you go, we'll start with John. Where can people find out more about what you're doing? Your website, social media, anything you got?
Oh, you're on Twitter now?
I'm on Twitter now, I'm told.
Yeah. You're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter.
You're on Twitter.
And on the Instagram.
You're on the Instagram.
I'm the John Glover.
The John Glover?
Yeah.
What are you on Twitter? The John Glover?
Real.
John Glover, okay.
Not R-E-E-L.
I just followed you.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
I'll be looking out for you.
And Susan?
So Susan Eisenberg 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and SusanEisenbergVoice.com for my website.
And George?
I think it's at George Newbern on Twitter, and I think it's at George Newbern on Instagram, I think. That's close enough. You'll get it. You'll get to it.
Excellent. Well, can we please give a huge round of applause for George, Susan, and John? Yeah, so everyone, all three of these are up. They're up on the fun deck upstairs. They're happy to meet you. Now, John is only here today, so if you want to talk to John, please be sure to go see him today.
I got a job. I have to.
But you guys, and let me just tell you, you guys did a great job. You asked some great questions. Thanks for being a great audience. Have a great day at StocktonCon.
My son wants to shake here. He wants to shake super.
Sure, of course. Johnny.
They should let us all go movie.
Right now, because photos.
Oh yeah, group photo.
I got 10. I was 6+.
What's on John's phone?
Are you guys good in front of the perfect?
Jeez.
All right, I got a bunch, so I'll send a couple of you guys.
Thank you, awesome.
All right, so you know where we are, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I suck.
Thank you all. Great job.
Shake his hand, Jax. Come on. And of course, my phone just Thank you so much. See y'all down there. Justice League went off the air before he was born.
I know, I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but I figured out.
You're lucky.